All right, hey everybody. Uh, so um, I went on last night, and All right, hey everybody. Uh, so my bad. Sorry about that echo. Um, yeah, I went on last night, real late. And I was talking about the direction that I'm hoping to go into in the new year. Um, hey Cassie. Hey, Antimony, Barnyard Hard, Gingerlock's mom. Um, yeah, ooh, uh, yeah. So I talked a little bit last night about I started to kind of explore things. I like to do that. Uh, I like to live a little dangerously, and I like to think out loud, more or less. And I I got to a point where I started to kind of break down why we tend to do things. And it came down to being stubborn. It came down to it basically came down to ego. Um and and I noticed it's not just, I mean, I'm very, very guilty of it, but we all seem to do it. We all seem to, hey Jess Shelley. Uh and just a mama, hey. Yeah, we all tend to do it. We all tend to get really, really um stubborn, and we get really, really prideful. Um and we tend to get and I think this comes from ego. But I want to try to explore a little bit. Hey Jenny Anderson, happy new year to you too. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic year, as a matter of fact. Hey Sonny, happy 2020 to you. Um yeah, I want to get into because man, yeah, somebody pointed out and they put it on and I posted it up for a second. They were like, your ego is huge. And yeah, clearly, there's there's no doubt about that. I'm very egotistical. Um, I'm one of those people that, like, when I'm right and I know I'm right, I'm not backing down. That's not gonna happen. I'm definitely one of those people. Um and I'm keeping I keep seeing this word in the chat. I'm gonna get to that. I promise, guys. I'm gonna get to that. Uh on Yard Hard, just to make sure I don't miss you. Um I yeah, I get um so I definitely think ego has a lot to do, or almost everything to do with why we do the things that we do, why we clash with people. Um and what that does, and here goes my ego again, because to me that just kind of proves what I've been saying, right, for the most part. um and what that is, the flip side to that, is it's accountability. So if you're the type of person who, if you're like me, um you have the need to just you believe in something, you believe it to be right, you just push and push, and you'll argue, and you know even if it's to the point where you feel like there's no way I'm ever going to convince this person my side of things, but just out of principle you don't back down. Just out of principle you argue and you don't back down, and I'm sticking to my guns here, because for some reason you feel like a piece of your soul, if you give in, to uh you know hey man, you know what, I don't even want to argue with you, fine, you're right, fine. If you do that, you feel like you lost a little piece of yourself, like you kind of did yourself a disservice, right? um and that's a very, very difficult thing for me to live with. That's a very difficult thing for me to live with. Now, if you're wrong and you're proven wrong, and logic is put in your face, and it's indisputable evidence, and somebody says, "Hey, no, dude, like this, look at the data. You're wrong," and you're just too proud to admit it, and that's something a little different. Um, that's uh, that's just being irrational. Um, but I wonder. I wonder if, and forgive me because this is kind of what I do here. I usually just think out loud. So I wonder uh, if it's beneficial to embrace and accept the fact that we have egos. Is being egotistical such a bad thing? Um, oh, I'm sorry, Tracy L. I didn't see you. Sorry, a bunch of yeah. Man, I'm getting I'm I'm still getting used to having 20 people in my chat, if you can believe that. I mean, I know that's not a huge number, but I'm still getting used to having, 20, 30 people in my chat. So it's, I'm gonna miss some people sometimes. I do apologize, and I know you're just giving me shit, but I think you're great, and I feel bad still for not saying hello. But I'm saying hello now, Tracy. So hello. But anyway, I don't. Yeah, I'm wondering if having this monstrous ego. Well, that's the wrong word to use. Having a large ego, having a big ego, and being very egotistical. Um, if that's always necessarily such a bad thing, um, because I think that that a lot of things come from insecurity, for sure. Misplaced ego, I would say, comes from insecurity, for sure, and I have that all the time. Um, I have that all the time, but I but I know I'm also one of those people that is capable of thinking logically and capable of thinking rationally. Um, and as you know, if you know, uh, those are part of Glera principles that I've set for myself, which is logic and rationality. Um, and I don't. I try really, really hard to stick to that, and I know that it can be dangerous because you're kind of walking a you're walking a fine line. You're walking a fine line when you're trying to be rational and you're trying to be logical, yet you accept the fact that you are an egotistical person. Um, and I realize that I'm if it wasn't for being egotistical, and not just me, any of us, if it wasn't for being so egotistical, um, no change would ever be made. No good things would ever come. And obviously there's bad, you know, you get some, I'm guessing, what I'm trying to, I guess, explore right now is misplaced ego. Hitler had misplaced ego. Apparently he had like micro penis and decided to just direct all of his anger on the Jews and minorities, and and then we all know what happened from there. So this is not a yeah, this is not one of those things. I think that it's healthy to accept the fact that we are human and we are egotistical people. Uh, just like I think it's okay to accept the fact that we're human and people. Um, it's not a bad thing. Good things come from being a sexual person. You create life. You express yourself. You connect with other people. So being a very sexually being comfortable with being a human who is a very sexual human, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think that that's very, very healthy. But it can be, uh, it can go overboard. You have to be very careful with that. If it gets to a point where people are getting hurt, then there's a problem. Um, so I definitely want to focus this year on uh placing my ego and using my ego uh to antimony, the reason why I'm not comparing myself to Hitler. What I'm saying is, there's a whole nother spectrum. There's a whole nother, it's one of those things. I'm using the example. I'm trying to make the point that, that, yeah, being an egotistical person can be a very bad thing, but it doesn't always have to be. And we could and Hitler's an example of how bad it can get. That's all I'm saying. Um, but hey, Bella Vendetta. I don't want to. I definitely don't want to be the type of egotistical person that just gets uh greedy. You know, um, I think that one can get lost in their egos, and they end up uh, becoming drunk on their own. You know, uh, it's hard to explain. Just becoming in love with their own idea of who they think they are, and it going way too far, and people end up getting hurt. Feelings get hurt. Now you guys know how I feel about that sort of thing. And sometimes, I mean, making somebody, and I made a post in the community where um and I made a meme, and it stated something to the effect of, holding somebody accountable for their actions is not the same as attacking them. So I'm real big on understanding the difference, because if 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 we're friends, you know, that you can hold me accountable for something that I've done wrong. How I take it is up to me. Do I choose to try to learn from it? Do I choose to evaluate myself and figure out, hey, did I did I screw something up here? Did I hurt somebody? Um, but if if someone chooses not to take accountability for their own actions, then that's on them. Well, I can only be responsible for myself here. Even feel comfortable guaranteeing that I'm taking any responsibility for. Um, so if you choose not to, if you choose not to be accountable for your own actions, and you're always misplacing accountability, you're always blaming someone, or always taking an opportunity to victimize yourself, or running to victimization as some sort of defense, um, against against having to face your own shit that you're responsible for and that you're accountable for. I can't relate to you. That's not. I'm not gonna defend that. Um, but um, and that to me is misplaced ego. That's an ego that is misused. Because you're not learning anything from it. You're just running around, uh, just dumping yourself on people, and there's nothing good coming from it, and you're not learning anything from it. Um, and yes, Bella Vendetta, yeah, that happens a lot on YouTube. Um, and what's funny is I like to kind of dip my toes in that stuff a little bit. I like to kind of just, kind of what's that all about? What's that feel like? What happens if I do this? I do that, but it's at the same time, and yeah, maybe that's misplaced ego. Um, but that's the way that I learn things. I like to learn things because I like to learn things by experiencing them. Um, and so I and here we are. Here we are, full circle, right? I here I am talking about the same thing that I started talking about when I started this channel. And it's okay. It's totally cool. And it's one of those things that I know in theory. I know that that's the way to go. I know that's the way to do things, but you're not going to tell me something without me going and experiencing it for myself. You're not going to go, "Hey, that's that's not good." I'm definitely that guy that uh I don't know. I like to kind of dip myself into dangerous situations a little bit. I've always been that guy. Um, some call it stupid, and there's truth to that. But at the same time, uh, if I come out on top or if I come out unscathed, then who benefited more? The person who never even got to experience it, or me, who gets to talk about it and gets to say, "Hey, I did that for a minute." Um, so I'd rather be the latter. I'd rather be the person who does that. Um, so I'm always willing to learn. Um, so yeah, um, but we have to. I think it's really important to admit to ourselves how egotistical we are, and then learn to try to manage that, just like anything else. And I agree, Bella Vendetta. Growth definitely comes from failure. Um, failure is most definitely the best teacher in history. So, hey, Sue Shaw. So I'm real big on that, and man, let me tell you, I failed a lot. Um, but that's the thing is I have no idea what to do with this YouTube thing. I have no idea what to do except to just keep doing this. Um, and I might uh go another direction. Who knows? Um, but I feel like no matter what's going to happen, I'm always going to come back to this. I'm always going to come back to this part. Um, just because I like to explore and I like to see things and I like to interact with people and I like to get to know people. Um, I like to get to know different avenues of these things. And and that's an interesting point, Antimony. That's an interesting point. You say you make mistakes because your ego is weak. That's interesting because I think a lot of things that people do, uh, a lot of mistakes that people make. Hey, what's up, Badger? Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the channel. Thanks a lot. Um, and I really, really, I like to, I like to think that um, the negative parts of ego, when people do egotistical, proud things that end up on the negative side of things that I've been talking about that hurt people or hurt yourself, that just comes from low self-esteem. That comes from someone being fully aware, but not consciously realizing it, but being aware of the fact that they, um, being aware of the fact that they could be a certain way, and then they're pissed off at themselves for not being that certain way, and then end up lashing out at other people, right? They end up taking it out on everybody else. What's up, Devil Mike? So that happens to me. I've mentioned that before. That's where irrationality comes in, which becomes very it becomes very tricky. um I like uh I became fascinated when I started to really focus on being rational and making decisions rationally, and behaving rationally, no matter how my emotions were, no matter how stirred up I got. Um, and then I realized that uh, irrational people, because we're always talking about how it's okay to eject people from your lives who are toxic, right? And people who are just constantly irrational, and there's deep reasons why they behave irrationally, why we all behave irrationally. There's deep reasons for that, but everybody has their own reasons for it. And I realized I realized when I decided that I wanted to be more rational and start making rational decisions, and start, uh, just behaving generally more rationally. Um, the people in my life who were behaving irrationally, who constantly behave irrationally, have no interest in improving this about themselves. They'll eject themselves from your life. You won't have to do it. They'll do it for you. Um, and it's really just because they don't have any. It's really because they simply they don't have anything to feed off of anymore. I've talked about this before, but I think it's relatable to everything that we're saying here. Um, yeah, absolutely. I mean, good ego is what? It's confidence, right, Bella? I mean, that's the word for it. I would say good ego is confidence. We have to be confident. So when these people the people are negative and they use their ego in such a negative way with negative intentions, then you're looking at people who are low people of low self-esteem, people who don't believe in themselves, people who doubt themselves, people who have trouble um getting past getting past themselves because they can't get on a track towards doing something productive. I see this all the time. There's one person that I know she's a really really nice person. It's not anybody on YouTube. Um, she's a really really nice person, but she does things that are self destructive, and and the minute that the minute that people start to you start to wonder, like, why is she constantly doing this? um you also notice the thing that she complains about most is that people don't seem to like her, that no matter how hard she tries, people don't like her. Nobody wants to connect with her, nobody wants to invite her places and do nice things with her. um and she sleeps with people. um she's promiscuous, and so people are like, well, we don't like you. They won't tell her to her face, but they judge her for being promiscuous. That's the reason that's the excuse that they use to judge her. But the truth is, people don't want to connect with her and don't want to be close to her because she is trying too hard to connect and get close to people. She's looking for validation from other people and from everyone else around her, instead of looking at it in within herself, looking for it within herself. Um, and people can see that, people can smell that coming a mile away. And if you're totally that type of person, then it's going to be really difficult for you um to connect with other people, um because if you're not with at peace with who you are, and you're not at least in a place where you're at least trying to become at peace with who you are, and you at least know that's the biggest issue that you're dealing with right now, and then Um, no, I'm not talking about anybody on YouTube, Bella. I swear. um, this isn't even somebody that I know very well. It's just something that I've noticed. It's an observation I've made of this person and I've talked to. Um, and she's really kind and she's really sweet. But she's capable. But then when she gets frustrated with everything, uh, she takes it out on other people, right? She'll do nasty things to other people, and when she does that, it's it's totally obvious that the only person that she's mad at is herself. Um, because she just can't seem to find value in herself. So instead of actually looking for it within herself, she looks for it through other people, and that's a very dangerous thing. Um, that's a very, very dangerous thing. It's self-destructive, because instead of just being like, you know what, I'm just gonna do what I gotta do for me. And what's crazy is she's in school, she's doing really, she's got a plan for the future. She's extremely organized, but she drinks. She sleeps with people who she regrets sleeping with afterwards. Um, and then she'll tell people about it, and then she'll tell the wrong people about it, and then those wrong people will pass judgment on her, and they'll do it behind her back. And then I just feel bad. I feel bad because I think she's a really, really sweet person. I think she has a lot to offer, but she doesn't believe in herself enough to realize it, and then and provide those things to offer to her environment. Hold on. Double mic. Yeah. How can we walk our natural path and enjoy it and grow without resentment? We need to believe in our future self. Right. I absolutely agree. We have to be able to grow without resentment. We have to let go of resentment. We have to, and I was talking about this stuff last night. Um, Resentment and grudges and things of that nature, they're just bags of shit that I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine, instead of like shitting in the toilet and flushing it, right? Can you imagine, instead you just carry it in a bag, and just keep carrying it and dragging it behind you everywhere you go? um can you imagine how heavy that gets and how smelly it gets? uh and and what happens? People don't want to be around you if you stink. You know, nobody wants to be around you if you fucking reek of shit. And then you're exhausted all the time, and you're one of those people that are just like, you know, hey, how you doing? I'm tired. We all know that person. We all work with that person. We all went to school with that person. We all have family functions where this person comes. That person who's always tired and always miserable, and always there's nothing you can do for them, and all they want is to have people there to where they get to just air out their shit bag, their big huge trash colostomy bag, to where everybody can smell it, and then they just have to sit there in it and watch everybody. Because why do they have to be the only one subjected to their shit? Why can't everyone have to be subjected to their shit? If I have to be subjected to it, then everyone does. And then they fail to realize, no, because it's your shit, and you don't even have to be carrying it around. You don't even have to be carrying it around. You just let it go. You just dump it, right? So, um, this is, um, I think being egotistical can be a tool to I mean, how would, if we weren't egotistical to a certain degree, how would we be able to look into ourselves, right? How would we be able to look into ourselves to try to be uh to try to be better, to try to make changes? Um because the truth is, it takes fucking guts, man. It takes guts to be able to look into yourself and go, hey, man, this is something that I need to change because it's not been doing me any good. um so sorry guys, I'm just looking over the chat here real quick. um yeah, I realized that that image was quite colorful. But I I mean, that's the way I talk, man. I do I describe things. I mean, what's grosser and smellier than shit, you know? Aside from maybe uh your own insecurities that that you just carry around with you and subject everyone else to. Um so yeah, I mean, uh yeah, and yeah, YouTube is becoming a very, very, very it's becoming a just a fountain of knowledge. It's becoming a great learning uh platform for me. Right. That's another good point, Devil Mike. It's that's why it's of no use to you anymore. Um, so why not just leave it behind? Why carry it with you? And it's not any use to anyone else. So chances are, if you're wondering why don't people like me? Why don't people want to be around me? You know, it's probably because you're carrying a bag of smelly shit everywhere you go. I don't even know how else to put that. I mean, check yourself, see if you're carrying a bag of smelly shit, and then get rid of it. So yeah, I don't. That's it's the world isn't what's messed up, man. The world is messed up, but it's not. You can't sit there and blame that fact on why you're not moving forward, or and moving forward is relative. I mean, uh, in the sense that you could be, I consider myself moving forward, and yet I don't even know what I want to do ultimately as far as uh having a financial career. I still can't figure that out. I'm in my mid 40s. I still can't figure that out because I'm still an infant when it comes to just figuring myself out and learning who I am. I'm still I barely, this is all very, very new to me. Um so I don't know. Uh, I I I have no idea what I want to do, but all I know is that I want to be happy. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how I can be happy, um regardless of what I have, or what station I'm in life as far as a career goes. Um I just want to be happy, and I want to be able to connect with other people in a positive way. Um, but I don't know. So yeah, I've been trying to I've been trying to figure out exactly the best thing as far as uh because it's like a lot of the other things I talk about. Ego is just something that we all have. You know, it's not going to go away, but it's like anything else. You got to manage it. You know, appetite is something we all have, but you have to manage it. You know, you can't just stuff Twinkies in your face all day. You'll die. You know, I mean, you could do that for a while, but you can't do it forever. You know, so I don't know. I There's a couple of things I wanted to go over too. And here I am again. I'm on here, and this is a very very different subject, but I'm on here on YouTube yesterday while I'm at work, and Cab 7 is live. I know he was live earlier, but I didn't have a chance to listen to him. But Cab 7 was live with all his inspirational stuff, and somebody swatted this guy again. It was the 11th time, I think I heard him say. 11 times this guy's been swatted. Um so um if you can, go over and visit his channel, because um he's a really really good man. And I think because it's really frustrating to watch, because this is a guy who goes live, and he's like me in the sense where he thinks out loud and stuff, but he's dealing with this situation happening where he is live, and he's trying to share positivity, and then out of nowhere cops come knocking on his door doing a wellness check, right? and and it's just to fuck with them, right? And what sucks is it sucks to watch them winning. um and the reason why I say that is because you see this man kind of get frustrated. You see him, people in the comments, and they're giving him shit about the fact that it was New Year's Day, and he was still smoking cigarettes, and he's like, well, it's still New Year's. I still have today to smoke. This is a big decision. And then he has to find himself justifying the fact that he, has to, explain why he's smoking a cigarette. Um, and, so you could tell that he's just getting frustrated. This poor man, he's getting frustrated. And I think what he's struggling with is the people who are swatting him are trying to justify their actions by making him out to be a hypocrite of some sort. And that's bullshit right there. That's fucking bullshit. So if you think somebody's a hypocrite, either don't listen to him, or even call him out on it. Be like, hey, listen, you're full of shit, you know? But what's doing these cowardly acts going to accomplish? You're just enforcing what he's doing. Because now my man Ben Cab 7 and Green Bay Wacky and a bunch of these other creators, now they have a fund. Now they're building a fund for a reward to catch the people who are doing this swatting. And I think it's up to like 2,000 something dollars. And to it's supposed to lead to the capture and charging and conviction of someone. So and I think that's a good thing. I think that's the best thing to do, because it brings the community together. And B, it sorry, I got distracted here. Yeah, guys. Um, Cowards SWAT, just Shelly. Cowards do it. Um, and it brings the community together. But it also it's also a very logical method to reaching a result, because somebody out there knows who's doing this. And hold on real quick here. Hey Derry D, happy new year to you too. Sushaw, swatting is not the same as trolling. Trolling is cowardly too, but swatting is it's used very loosely now, that term, because what's happening is originally it started in the gaming community, where people would be gaming and be on live, and then somebody didn't like that somebody did something in a video game, uh during a live stream of a video game. And then what they would do is find out where they lived, where they were broadcasting from, and then they would call the police and say that there was something very, very dangerous happening and that they were armed. And so a SWAT team has to respond to that and basically kick in the door and um and subdue any person in there, just for the sake of, in case they have weapons and could hurt someone. um so so it's extremely dangerous. People have gotten killed from it. People have been accidentally shot by cops because of it. And right now it's um spilling over into the YouTube community. And and it's a very, very dangerous thing. But yeah, it's, and to do it to somebody like Ben, like Cab 7, I mean, God, what kind of an asshole are you? Seriously, like, the guy's so nice. And here's the thing is, the only argument is, oh, well, he's a hypocrite, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he's a hypocrite, but here's the thing is, I don't fucking care. You know, we could go into that shit. I don't give a shit. I don't care. This guy, I don't go on YouTube to try to get to know people on a personal level. That is not what I do here. I like people. I like to have nice conversations with people. I care about the people that I'm talking to, but I also respect the fact that I have a life outside of here. I like to keep this life and that life separate, So maybe, who knows, maybe him having that channel, for all I know, is penance to him for whatever shitty things that he does in his everyday life. Now, I don't think that's true. I'm just trying to make the point is, who gives a fuck? I don't care. All I care about is the fact that this guy has a channel, and it's very positive, and it's a very positive thing. And if you allow it to, you'll get something positive from it if you allow yourself to. Um, and yeah, Green Bay is just, he's a guy who's got a corny sense of humor, and it's funny. I like Green Bay. Um, and all he's trying to do is just trying to do something positive with his channel, make people laugh. Uh, I mean, why would you need to have that much hatred? It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that you think it's funny, and here's the thing, this is why I think you're a coward. If you're doing this sort of thing, see, I'm the kind of guy that if I'm fucking you up some way, I want you to know it's coming from me. I'm not going to hide behind, I'm swatting people. I mean, come on, do something better with yourself. I mean, that's a slippery slope right there, too, Devil Mike. Swatting should be attempted murder, if you ask me. When you think about what the caller says is happening at a house and SWAT bursts in, anything could happen. But I mean, it's it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. It's extremely dangerous, sure, but it's only potentially dangerous. Um, but I mean, you start to to change laws like that. I've talked about this stuff before. You start messing with laws and start cracking down on things. This is why I don't like that. I don't like the idea of, you know, well, we need more government to step in and fix this problem. I don't believe that that's the solution. I think what CAB is doing is the right way to go. I think the best way to go is to, because if we actually, I mean, look what Jay did. Look what Jay's for Justice did. Or what's the 411 with Jay is actually the channel that actually did it. What she did with catching Oni, she just went through the motions like she was working a true crime case, like she was covering a true crime case. And she went through the motions, but she had so many subs and so many supporters. Even another sub, Tawanda, she put up a reward for it, or offered a cash reward. And there was a lot of, there was a lot of support. And what happened was everybody kind of came together. And I got involved in it only because it affects us as a community. And absolutely, it's the same reason I'm sitting here talking about Cap 7. So it's something that seriously affects us all. And we need to do something about it. We have the power to do something about it. But it's so much more rewarding when we are able to take care of something ourselves, and we don't rely on some outside agency to come in and handle it for us. I felt very proud to be part of a community that was able to collect information and share information and figure out that this one idiot asshole was calling cops on people just because he didn't like them, and because he had issues with himself. I if we sit there, what are we doing? If we just call the cops and just let the cops do their thing, then it's the waiting game, and we just have to trust them to care enough to bring us results. But and I'm not talking bad about cops. What I'm saying is they have so many things that require so much attention. This is something that we could figure out. Now, if we could collect enough evidence and say, hey, look, this person did this, they embezzled money, they ripped people off, this person's a total piece of shit. You can take that and you can say, here, you don't have to do any work except prosecute them. So well, that's exactly my point, Red Raven Spirit. The intention behind swatting, there's no way you can know what the outcome will be if you are swatting, right? Which is exactly why you can't charge them with attempted murder. Attempted murder means if you charge somebody with attempted murder, that means you're ready to take them to court and prove in court that their intention was to have someone killed. They consciously said, hey, I want that person dead. The only difference between murder and attempted murder is with attempted murder, they tried to kill you, but they failed. That's attempted murder. So if you're trying to kill somebody, then yeah. So that's the thing is that's my point. I mean, I went on a rant about, being independent and working as a community and not having to bring cops into situations that we can handle ourselves, for sure. Yeah. And I still stand by that. And I believe that. But this is another reason why I don't agree with making these laws, because, then that's not attempted murder. I mean, it's not attempted murder. It's dangerous, but you can't go and it's not the right thing to do to go and make a law about something because you're cracking down, and it's an inaccurate law. That's not attempted murder. So you can't just go and say, okay, well, we need to solve this problem and we're going to call it attempted murder, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? That's you know what that is? That's like charging people with attempted murder every single time that they get a DUI. You can't do that. People could get killed uh for driving drunk, but you can't charge them with attempted murder because they didn't have the intention to go out and kill somebody. Were they careless? Sure. But you got to be, yeah, we have to be real careful with things like that. Um we have to be real careful with things like that. And yeah, I think I think you're right, Cassie. I think it's awful for the police to have to deal with these things. It's a waste of resources. Um, and 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 if so many people are doing this, if so many people are doing this swatting, um, then you would think that if it became the norm, then anytime that the police really need to take something seriously, they're going to be kind of desensitized to it, and they're not going to want to actually, their heart's not going to be in it as much as they normally would because they're going to it's going to be in their back of their mind, and it's just some stupid YouTuber or stupid gamer that's trying to get back at somebody. Um, and that's the big fear. That's my big fear, because what's going to happen is, if we're not capable of taking care of this sort of thing ourselves, then we're going to get outside entities coming in and stepping in. YouTube is going to come in and start stepping in and start restricting policies. Um, the police are going to come in, and they're going to make laws. And then guess what? A little bit more of your freedom is taken away. Every single time something like this happens and an outside entity decides to come in and get involved because we can't seem to manage ourselves, then they're going to manage things for us. And what they're going to do is just like your parents. Well, uh you got a brand new toy that you're a kid, you got a sibling, and you got a brand new toy, and you and your sibling keep hitting each other with this toy, right? And your parents are normally going to say, hey, listen, if you guys can't learn to figure out how to play amongst each other properly, then I'm going to step in. And the way that I'm going to step in is I'm going to do it in a way that's going to benefit me, not you, which is take the fucking toy away, get rid of it, and you'll never get to play it again. And I get peace and quiet, because that's what's going to happen. Because if somebody else steps in here, it's not coming from a place of, hey, these YouTubers, man, they're doing a good thing and we need to help them out. That's not what they're thinking. They're thinking, well, you know what? I'm sick and fucking tired of hearing about this. So we're just going to go in and we're just going to say, you can't do this and you can't do that. And see if that solves the problem. And I don't know about you guys, but I like being able to come on here whenever I feel like it. I like being able to come on here and say whatever I want. I don't want that. I don't want that restricted. I don't want people. I don't want some outside entity coming in here and telling me how I can do my channel on here. I love this freedom. I'm enjoying this freedom. You guys are enjoying it too. So can you just imagine? So I don't want that sort of thing happening to me. And I don't want to see that happen to other creators that I like to watch and I like to listen to. I don't want to see that happen. So we got to be real careful about stuff like that. I think it's important that we try to figure out how to handle these things on our own. And I'm not saying get a lynch mob together and find the person who's doing the swatting and string them up. I'm saying show that we as a community can behave civilly and show that we're not willing to put up with that kind of behavior. We're a community. We can manage. We can govern ourselves to a certain degree, and we can find out who's behind this stuff and turn them into the authorities. Because what's going to happen is if they come in and they start investigating everything, then they're going to start throwing their weight around. And they're going to start being they're going to start behaving like an authority. And I don't want that. I don't want that. I like what we got going on right now. I like the way it goes. So, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I like Makeup Mobster. I think, yeah, that's so crazy that people were doing this shit to each other, man. Um, and yeah, I agree. I think it should be fines and jail time, Tracy L. Absolutely. Um, but see, that's what I'm talking about. We have to keep in mind that these civil servants, that's what they are. We pay taxes, right? Anybody here who's got a job, you pay taxes. That's what your taxes go to. So technically, that makes these authority figures, you have to understand, they work for us. We don't work for them. But they get to make laws and they get to do things and make decisions, and they're still in a position of authority over us. So, um we also have to understand we still live in a free country, but we have to exercise that freedom. If we don't exercise that freedom, then what's going to happen is these authority figures are going to make decisions for us. And guess what? That's when you don't have freedom. That's the opposite of having freedom, is when people start making decisions for you, then you're no longer free. But if we're capable of making decisions and we're capable of governing ourselves to a certain degree within this community, then they're not even going to know we're here. They're not even going to give a shit what we're doing, you know? But as soon as they get wind of it, then then what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I don't want that. Um, so yeah, I think the ideal way to deal with this is to figure out who's doing this amongst ourselves. Um, there's a cash reward that Cap 7 and those other creators have put together, and and uh and collect whatever evidence we need and turn that into the authorities and keep them in a place where they're working for us. Like, here, civil servant, here's all the evidence that we have on this person. Convict them and keep them out of our community. That's ideally the best way to go, right? Bye, just Shelly. Have a good day at work. I'm actually about to um yes, and sorry, I was not discriminating about but yeah, that's Red Raven Spirit. You're right with that point there. Yeah, there's definitely, yeah, international subs. I mean, this is an international community. That's all the more reason. Do you want, I mean, if you live in Australia or England, do you want American authorities to all of a sudden have some sort of say over what you get to watch and what you don't get to watch on here? Fuck that. I don't want that. So we got to be careful, guys. Just be real careful. Like, we've got to start taking more accountability. We've got to start having more faith in ourselves and each other, and start taking more accountability, because the less accountability that we take, the more dependent that we become on other people. And we become dependent on other people. Well, then guess what? You're no longer independent. And people have authority over you. People have say over you. I don't want that. I like being independent. But the price of independence is accountability. So you got to be accountable. You got to be able to get your hands dirty, get to work. You got to be able to do the work. To me, it's a no-brainer. You know, I'll do whatever I got to do. But anyway, guys, Soul for Music. I'm sorry you're just joining us. Yeah, I'm about to log off right now. But yeah, I'm gonna get to work. I'm gonna make some food, take it with me to work, and I'm really glad that we got to talk, guys. I had a really good time with you guys last night and today, and I don't know. I'll try to be on as soon as I can, but yeah, I think 2020 is going to be a good year. I think if we start to have a little bit more faith in ourselves and each other, we're going to do good things. And I really appreciate you guys logging on and listening. So yeah, we'll be seeing you guys soon. Have a great day. All right.